Happy Thursday, everybody. It's Chamber Check-In time. And today I have Jordan Nairdales and Alexandra Monjar with the Capital City Development Corporation with us. Hi.
Hi, Pam.
Hey, thanks for carving out a little time. You know, the CCDC, as everyone knows, is one of those agencies that works behind the scenes all the time to improve our community. And I'm so glad that you're taking some time to help educate me and the listeners more about what the agency does and the economic impact that it has on this community. So we usually start out these with a great opportunity to learn a little bit about the business as well as the people behind them, because that's important as well. So before we get to y'all, I get to thank our series sponsor for these check-ins. It's Delta Dental of Idaho. And Jordan and Alexandra, you both know that Delta Dental is Idaho's best-in-class dental insurance carrier in the state of Idaho. They've been doing it for over 50 years. And with that, I'm going to share a fun factoid from their Tooth Truth series. Here we go.
Did you know that teeth are the hardest substance in the human body? I did.
Fun factoids. Love them. I didn't know that. Well, I do.
I did either.
So, Jordan, I've known you for probably the last 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
And how long have you been with the CCDC?
Yeah, I'm coming up on 2 years with CCDC.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with the agency.
Yeah, it's a little non-traditional, given that a lot of what we do is, community planning and city planning. And but my background is in public relations, so that's what my degree's in from University of Oregon. And I've done a lot of community outreach, communication planning, marketing. Started out at the Idaho Department of Labor, so working in state government, have moved into nonprofit work with the Downtown Boise Association. And I would say really in that role, I started kind of realizing or noticing that cities just don't spring up out of the ground, out of nowhere. There's a lot of thought and planning and visioning and community engagement and input that goes into building a city that works for everyone. And man, I just dove headfirst into that and just really on my own, just got really involved in educating myself on how cities are built. And this opportunity to join CCDC as a communications manager was bringing those two pieces of me together. So it was a great opportunity, and I'm really, really happy to be a part of this team.
And Jordan, you're the communications manager?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, you were a valuable asset, you and Amy, helping us learn more about with our transportation committee and giving us some good feedback on some of the projects that are going on right now. Alexandra, hey, thanks again for you coming. You're a project manager there for CCDC. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been with the organization and your history of work.
Yeah, I am just a little bit behind Jordan, a little over a year and a half, coming up on 2 years in December. And my background is also kind of varied. I feel like I have the same realization Jordan had, that cities look the way they do for very specific reasons. And there's a lot of market and non-market influences that are behind that. And that just really interested me. My educational background is in arts management. And so I started out working actually at an art museum, and a couple exhibitions on cities and space got me interested in the subject. And it's kind of been my passion ever since. When I moved to Boise in 2014, I started just getting involved, volunteering, and eventually working for nonprofits that work on planning and development, Idaho Smart Growth, and then Idaho's Urban Land Institute chapter. And from there, became involved with the agency, wanting to get my hands a little dirty on some projects and get into more specifics and have more of an active role in what the future of Boise looks like.
I love it. So Jordan, why don't you give us the 30,000 foot view of when CCDC became an agency and what it is exactly the agency does.
Sure. So an iteration or iterations of our organization have been around since 1965. So currently we are Capital City Development Corporation. We're Boise's redevelopment and urban renewal agency. So we are an independent public agency. A lot of folks think that we are maybe a department within the city of Boise. We operate out of City Hall. We're our own public agency, but we work hand in hand with the city departments at the city, Parks and Rec, Arts and History, as well as, ITD, Ada County Highway District, really those close agency partners, and our community stakeholders in order to catalyze quality investment that supports these broad visions of what kind of city we want to have. And so the goal is to create thriving, healthy neighborhoods. And every 5 years, we create this plan called our Capital Improvements Plan that really looks at specific goals and specific needs within our city and our neighborhoods, and puts in motion real ways in order to accomplish those goals. That's pretty high level.
Right.
Just to get a little more specific, I guess, we do that through, like I said, our capital improvement projects. And that work focuses on projects within public infrastructure improvements. So improving, thanks, Clark. Improving sidewalks and undergrounding utilities to make downtown, the trees to grow bigger in downtown and not have to bump into the power lines. We do placemaking projects, which really are those iconic spaces. So like Sheree Buckner Webb Park with that beautiful pink tree. That was a placemaking effort to build that park and create a public gathering space in an area that didn't really have any, all the way to, again, with those public infrastructure improvements, widening sidewalks so that downtown businesses can have outdoor cafes, which just all continues to layer and add on to the identity of downtown and this really exciting, energized vibe happening in downtown.
Oh, absolutely. Alexandra, can you share a little bit about some of the past projects that people would recognize and then share some of the newest projects that we're excited for?
Yeah, so just jumping off of Jordan's comment about Sheree Buckner Webb Park, not only was the agency involved in creating that park, but we were also, coming from my role, involved in the development of 11th and Idaho building that's next to the park. And so we, through our participation program, are able to assist private and public partners in projects within our districts by reimbursing for costs to build public infrastructure. So with that project, we also reimbursed for sidewalks and utility improvements that go around the building in the public right of way. And another recently completed project you might be familiar with is Jewels on 3rd, the new housing project. And then the Mother Earth Brewing Company, actually, right next door. We also assisted in the development of those sidewalks or improvement of the sidewalks. So we're involved in a lot of projects, in our districts downtown, and then up in our Gateway East district, which is more focused on economic development. And a recent project that we've got there was we were involved with the Boise Gateway buildings that the city has a partnership with Boyer Development Company. And so we assisted with reimbursement for extending utility lines out there as well, which is really vital for bringing more businesses to Boise, where a lot of those areas up in that district don't have any infrastructure, whether that's water, sewer, power, or streets. So we are a really important piece of making that possible in that area.
So urban renewal districts, are there many, or is it just the city of Boise? Help me understand where y'all are impacting.
Yeah, I can jump in and speak to that. So, urban renewal occurs across the country, and multiple cities within the state of Idaho have similar agencies to ours. They're all kind of unique in how they're set up, but our agency has 6 urban renewal districts. Not traditionally, but primarily we've operated within downtown. So our first urban renewal district was the Central District. So Grove Plaza, 8th Street, and that existed for 30 years and just sunsetted in 2018. Yeah. That was pretty.
The whole at 8th and Main?
Yep. Yeah. Yes. So that just sunsetted, but we still have 2 districts within downtown, our River Myrtle, Old Boise district to the east, and then West Side, obviously to the west. Shoreline district, 30th Street, so looking at Whitewater area. Alexandra mentioned the Gateway East, and then we also have a recently established State Street district. And so Gateway East and State Street are pretty unique that they were formed for kind of specific purposes. Gateway East, as Alexandra mentioned, was for that economic development, kind of industrial, bringing in more jobs and developing that area out there as an industrial park. And then State Street is really focused on transportation and creating development along State Street that supports, other modes of transportation than just your single occupancy vehicle.
Well, mobility is one of your core responsibilities, and I see it in the pathways, the Pioneer Crossing pathway. So, Alexandra, since we're on that subject, and it's 11th and all the way from 11th to River, from the high school, I think down is being refurbished. So tell us a little bit about that specific project.
Yeah, so the 11th Street Bikeway, or Rebuild 11th Street is the name of the project, involves several improvements along 11th, which include that continuous raised bike lane all the way from State Street to the river, as you mentioned. And so, or actually all the way up to, Boise High School. One more block than State. And I understand that Amy kind of talked to you more about that a while back. And then we also are involved in several projects along that street with private developers who are building projects because of the great spaces that we're creating, and they want to be next to them. And so, we're working with, you've probably seen the crane that went up recently for Hotel Renegade.
Yes.
So we are gonna, we're in discussions with them about coordinating our projects and public improvements that they have, as well as the Sparrow Hotel that's just across the street, and they're doing some improvements to the alleyway that we're involved in. So it's a great example of the economic development that our projects downtown can spur.
You're doing a lot of education on these projects, as I can see. How do people get plugged in, Jordan? And how do folks learn what's happening so that they can choose alternative routes?
Yeah. So speaking specifically to 11th Street, we send out a weekly email update. Construction moves fast, which is good. We want to keep on schedule and get through construction. So those detours change a lot. So people can go to our website, ccdcboise.com, or rebuild11thstreet.com and sign up for those weekly emails. We're on every social media platform. Haven't gotten on TikTok yet, but all the old school ones are still there. And then I would also put maybe a plug in for our monthly board meetings. They are just a great resource to understand what's coming next. And they are live streamed every month. So it's the second Monday of the month at noon. And we live broadcast those, and then you can also just see them on our website. Great discussion, great presentations from all of our project managers about the projects, and those are just a great resource to learn about what we're working on and what's coming down the line.
Super exciting. I've been in Boise since '91, and I've seen some of the progress, but this last 8 years have just skyrocketed. Maybe Alexandra, can you tell us what the next maybe 5 years looks like? I mean, you see a crane in downtown is exciting. What's on the horizon?
Well, we've got 2 huge districts closing within the next, 5 years. Let's see, River Myrtle will close in 2025 and West Side will close in 2026. And those are our 2 like really downtown core districts right around the central district. And so when those districts are near the end is when we have the most opportunity to invest in these amazing projects like Rebuild 11th Street. And so, we'll continue to work on that. There's projects on Grove Street on the Linen Block side, as well as Old Boise blocks. And we expect to see a lot of continued private investment that we'll be hoping to spur as well and work with in our program. So you'll see a lot happening downtown.
Thanks for keeping us up to date. Public-private partnerships are huge, and the economic impacts are even elevated. So, Jordan, really quick, while we have you for a couple more minutes, tell us about the economic impact that CCDC makes.
Oh man, it's the gamut. I would say right now we're so focused on creating housing options in downtown. That is a huge community need and something that we work very closely with the city of Boise on, trying to identify unique partnerships or just very creative ways in order to bring more housing online. Because it's twofold. You got to have the spaces that people visit in order to have the a healthy neighborhood, that they have to have housing options and they have to have mobility options. And without one of those balls being juggled, they all kind of fall. And so that's been a big push recently, is trying to creatively find solutions to bring more housing options online.
Well, and if you get folks that are able to live and work in downtown, that elevates the economic impact with the downtown restaurants and retail, especially, and that creates that vibrancy in the community. Appreciate all the work that both you are doing and the whole team at CCDC. Let me make sure. So 11th Street rebuild, Cherie Buckner Webb Park, Bannock Street improvements. What is going on Bannock Street really quick?
Ooh, that's not us technically right now, but we did do Bannock Street improvements last year. And that was sort of the piece I was talking about, by extending patios so people could have more space for outdoor dining. I believe what's happening now is extending the geothermal line. So sustainability initiative in order to get geothermal to more businesses down there.
Love it. I know that there's underwater or underground water piping that takes a lot of effort to refurbish those, as well as reroute with these new builds. So thank you for your expertise on that. I think that's it for today. Is there anything else that I missed that you wanted to add?
I don't have anything, but Paul, thank you so much for letting us, talk about the work we do. You can tell Alexandra and I are kind of, I don't know, I'll say for myself, I'm a nerd about this stuff. And I'm just so happy to be, involved in the planning of downtown. So thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk about it.
Absolutely. Alexandra, any closing comments?
Same. I just appreciate the opportunity. I think the one project I've failed to mention that is taking up a lot of time now, and I hope that we will see in the ground in the coming years, is our Block 68 catalytic redevelopment RFP project in the west side near Boise and the YMCA. We're hoping to build some workforce housing on a half block there. So that's in negotiations and hoping to see progress on that this fall. And then if all goes well, we'll be breaking ground next year.
We are living in such a great, resilient community. Thanks again, both of you, Jordan and Alexandra, for taking some time with me. We really appreciate your high quality educational content and for your continued partnership with the Chamber. It means a lot to us.
Same. Thank you so much, Paul.
Yeah. Have a great weekend.
Bye. Thank you.